Okay, welcome to day 6 of this wonderful adventure called the 30-day Periscope Challenge. My name is Barry Selby. Whoops, I'll get a double tap to get back. There we go. Hi. My name is Barry Selby, and I am, there we go. I am known to my friends as the Love Doctor, and by trade, I am the heartbreak repair specialist. You find me at barryselby.com. Collars aren't even, so I get fastidious about little details sometimes, even though it's parched out here, pretty toasty. So, today's topic came out of a radio interview I had earlier today, and what came to mind in the conversation was something overarching in my work, because it's what I do, working with single women, is Barry Selby, so B-A-R-R-Y-S-E-L-B-Y, no H. Thank you for checking. By the way, I love if you're joining for the first time, please put in your name and where you're from, just so you have a sense of what the culture is on the call. And also, send me hearts if you like to, so I'm always welcome. Those are likes for what I'm talking about, so if you like what I'm talking about, awesome. If you don't, you feel free to leave, there's plenty of people scoping out there. As I mentioned, I'm part of a 30-day Periscope challenge, and so far so good. This is day 6, and I've done 6 in a row, so this is fun. From Brazil, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And as I talk, please post your questions if you have any, because I'm going to cover the topic, not in great detail, but in simple threads, around women and love. Not necessarily women in love, but women and love. And Franz is in the house. Thank you for joining us. Because my work is with women who are single, who are looking for relationships and creating love, and so many of them have stuff in the way of that. And that's my work, mostly. That's why I say I'm a heartbreak repair specialist, because most of the work, too, in France. Oh, wonderful. Yes, I'm in California. Los Angeles, where it's something in the 80s right now, and apparently this weekend it's going to be over 100 in the valley where I'm going to be on Saturday. I won't be scoping, I'll be dripping too much sweat. Oh, you're going to be hearing, I just heard him in the background, a rather noisy meowing. Don't speak. No, I'm not near Marina Del Rey, if that's what you're typing. MDR, Marina Del Rey. I'm not there, I'm actually on the west side. You're going to hear some meowing. That's Stormy, who's my buddy. I take care of him, and he is generally invading every single video, every single interview I've done the last few months, in fact. It is hot, but that's been the way it's been. Not so much hot as getting stickier. There's been a humidity issue in LA the last month or so. Hey, London, that's where I'm from originally. Been out in LA for many years. And this is, to be honest, getting too much for me to put up with. I'm looking to move out of town at some point. I've been here for 30 years, and it's gotten definitely warmer over the last 10. So, no, I never surfed. I'm English. We never learned to surf in England. I bike, and I did rollerblade many years ago. I do other things, but surfing was never my thing. So, getting back on topic, which would be one of those challenges of Periscope. I love Periscope, and it's also a bit of a challenge because there's interaction. So it's this, be spontaneous, without a script, and be misdirected by people asking questions along the way. It's a lot of fun. It's good practice for being on stage, so I love this Periscope experiment and experience. So let me get back to the theme, and then we'll branch out as we go. Women and love. A little French there? I'm sorry, I'm really basically English. I used to speak German briefly many, many years ago, but speak to me in English, I can work back to you. I was back in England in 2012, and my mum got sick, and I went back to see her, and then I went back later in the year because she passed away. So last time I was back there was right before and then right after the Olympics in 2012. So, yeah. And there's actually a guy in London who I follow, who's in Westminster. His name is Alex Pettit. If you don't know him yet, find him. He's a really cool kid. Well, he's in his 20s. But he knows Periscope and technology really well, so it's kind of fun. He is, it's Alex, A-L-E-X, P-E-T-T-I-T-T. Yeah, women in love, that's the theme today. And I'll get back on topic. Thanks for the reminder. And again, if any questions pop up. This is what I work with women. Now, I'm sure men go through the same thing because I've been through it myself. Holla to you too. But for women especially, because I work with them so much, I feel that vibration. And so many women I know have hearts that are wounded. So being, thank you to you too, being so invested in protecting themselves because they have to. And sometimes this comes from very early childhood. It makes their choosing love in the world very challenging. I know men to a degree, but we I know because I'm one of them, hide it really well. That's one of our things. Okay, now you can carry it over with the Spanish words. That doesn't really work, so stay on topic, please. if you wish. You can do what you want otherwise. So yes, men deal with this too, but women are more overtly this way because women are more emotionally based. We are more masculine based, more mentally based. That's the word I was looking for. In fact, there was a meme I created, or actually a post I put up recently, where it said that if you can imagine in a man's mind, there is a little tiny box. Surrounding that little box are all the men's thoughts, logical, laid out, planning, strategizing. That's the mind of a man. Inside the little box is a little Tasmanian devil, which is his emotions bottled up. In the women's mind, it's the reverse. In their mind is a little tiny box in which all the logical, laid out thinking is. Around that box is a massive Tasmanian devil whirling around, which is their emotions. Now, this is an exaggeration, and it's really an archetype, so don't throw insults, please. But the key is this. Women and men function differently. We are more logically, mentally based, so we don't react as much emotionally as women do generally, because women live in the flow of dance. That's Stormy. What's up, Stormy? He may come over, I don't know. If he comes over, I'll pick him up. He's a character. So, back to the topic. Women tend to protect their hearts because being feminine and being a woman, they feel things more vividly than men generally do. We bury it. You want to join me? All right, he's just meowing. The challenges for women is how to deal with that. Because what they do is they put up fences and defenses around their hearts. And they either attract a relationship being more emotionally blocked, or they look through the lens of that distortion, that pain, that hurt, and they attract a similar repeated experience. Now, this is true for men too, because I went through this 3 times in a row in relationships where I attracted the same pattern and the same experience with different women in relationship for myself. So I know this works both ways. But for women in love, really, it's the self-honoring choices, because for a lot of women, they choose to look for love outside themselves. Actually, I just said that and I realized men do the same thing, exactly the same. So this is becoming a very common ground conversation. So we look for love to fill us up. We look for somebody else to make us whole. And we look for somebody else to make us feel better, when we should really start with the mirror. What I mean literally is that if you want to attract a really healthy relationship, and this is for the women and for the men, but women especially, when you love the one in the mirror, and I don't mean narcissistically, I mean totally from the heart, when you honor and respect and love who you are, you'll get a match in the outside world by somebody of your attractive quality. If you like being with men or with women, that's what you'll look for. If you're looking for someone to make you feel better, that will last a certain period of time, and then it's going to expire. Because relationships have to be a give and take, or I should say a balancing of actions. And this is what I talked about. I'm going to talk about this again later. Well, coping is one thing, but it's really not coping because they're burying their emotional upsets. So it's not coping because it will come out later on. I mean, I've seen it so many times where women are doing great, fine, but below that surface, that's where all the unresolved stuff bottles up and gets held back. Now, men do the same thing, but we have a much thicker wall on top, so we keep it down further, just to be honest. So, oh yes, one of the things I'm going to talk about later on, but I'll cover it in here, is many people look at relationships being a 50-50 model. So we look for somebody else to make us complete. It's an illusion. None of us are walking around with just half of us present. Well, we pretend to be, but we're really whole people. And being whole people, we are 100% who we are. So when we meet somebody, we should remember that we're looking for someone who's going to add to who we are. So instead of being 50-50, making it whole, it's going to be 100-100, which is 200%. That is a healthy relationship because you're not looking for someone to lean on to make you feel complete. You're looking for someone to add to enjoy life with. In fact, the healthiest relationships. So when the completion fades, how do you mean that? Please, if you clarify that, I'll answer your question or respond to that in a second. I didn't quite get what you meant there. This is the thing. Being a man is challenging this thing because we are linear, sequential, we do one thing at a time. So trying to speak and teach whilst I'm trying to answer questions is this competition of energies, so I do tend to get off track. So keep going. I'll do my best to keep up with you. 50-50 relationships, whole and complete. So if we're looking for someone else to make us feel better, we're being codependent, which is a failed way of living. Now, no, I'll say that. Let me rephrase that, back it up. Not failed, but less effective, less successful, and less fulfilling. That's accurate. Because my parents' generation, and probably yours too, had the experience of that codependent paradigm. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna do a thing. I made it tomorrow because I talked about this in my book. I have a book, by the way, called 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, and it is a Amazon #1 bestseller. And you can find it on Amazon if you go look over there for me under my name and my book. But one of the principles I talk about that is that codependence is something that was propagated, or I should say marketed by society. And the game I was going to play, and I might do it tomorrow, we'll see how I feel about it, is if you could name 5 love songs over the last 50 years that were not codependent. Because I think every song, if not 99.9% of them, were all basically framed in the love songs I'm talking about, were framed in the concept of codependence. You know, Harry Nilsson back in the 70s, I think it was, or the 80s, wrote a song called Can't Live Without You. I can't live if living without you. It can't live if living means we're living without you. What sort of lyric is that for a healthy relationship? It sounds devotional, it sounds loving, but it's flawed, seriously flawed. There's so many songs out there, I don't even jump into that one. But if you have other songs you think about, really true, honest love songs over the last 50 years, give me 5 if you can. 3 would be great. That are songs that are not codependent, either in the title or in the message, because it's not easy to find. Most love songs were catering to an audience that was taught to be codependent. My teaching, my model, the more I'm learning about this, is what's called an interdependent relationship. Because we're independent, because we're 100% who we are, men and women. And I'm talking about straight relationships. Gays are the same way, because it's that separation of the individuals to become whole. But what we learn is that we have gifts, talents, skills, ways of being that are different from our partners. So that's the interdependent, because we can give those and share them with our partnership. One of the other chapters in my book, I talk about being each other's cheerleaders. There's something about being there for your partner, not just in times of woe and strife, but when your partner has dreams and visions that may take them somewhere you don't want to go, can you still support them? If their job is going to take them to travel and you want to stay where you are, can you still support them? That's what cheerleading is, what sense. Not rah-rah cheerleading with pom-poms. That's a very American football thing. I mean being on their team. That is a healthy relationship. And there's a lot of pieces I can talk about, and said, my book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, is 50 principles of healthy relationships. That's going to be more than one scope. So how would a woman who does not know a whole man's love recognize it as soon as she has healed herself? That's a good question. I would say thank you, Stormy, for contributing. I would say, honestly, that a woman who is in her wholeness and she's healed herself will recognize it because it mirrors her own. Now, the way a man loves is not the same as the way a woman loves, but there's a mirroring and there's a matching of frequencies. When a woman is whole, and this is true for men too, when I or somebody has healed themselves and owns their own love, they can feel it when it's flawed from somebody else. It's hard to be true to yourself without being judged, so you're forced to fake. I disagree with that totally, because if you want to be getting approval of those around you, yes, you've got to play fake. Unless you find really good friends who honor you in your wholeness. But I'm passionate about being authentic. That's one of my core values. So if you believe you have to be fake to fit in, you may want to find a different set of friends. I'm being brutal about this because I've seen so many people sell out to be part of a circle of friends. I did it myself in my teens and 20s. That lessens who you are. So if you truly want to live fully yourself, you want to attract and find people who will honor you when you choose to step into your fullness. That's not easy, I know. And sometimes it's safer to play in that safe space. But I gave up that a long time ago. And it's scary as hell out here. You know, there's a joke about, you know, you can live in your comfort zone and life happens outside your comfort zone. Well, a friend of mine and I coined the same thing. Outside your comfort zone, that's the magic zone. That's where really good stuff can happen. So you've got to step outside of what's comfortable to enjoy life fully. Because in that comfort zone is that codependence, that living at half energy, or half full, and not participating fully. So getting back to the conversation about women and love, particularly, and answering the question, I think I asked that question for you earlier, you asked about finding a man who is in his heart whole too, is it's a resonance. And it's also going to feel something different. If she's never had it before, she will feel different about it. It will feel safer. It will feel probably, to be honest, like she can finally relax into herself fully. Yeah, I just felt that one. To feel the love of a man fully, who's really in his space, in his heart, in his true expression, she can relax because she doesn't have to do the parts he's not doing. This is another piece about the masculine and feminine relationship. Thank you for the hearts on that one. And I talked about this in the interview I had earlier. When a woman, particularly this is Western world woman mostly. Oh, here it comes, the quote. I knew he was going to do this. I mentioned the Dalai Lama has been quoted in the memes on Facebook everywhere about, he said that the world will be saved by the Western woman. That was a quote that actually came out in 2006, I believe. He was at a peace conference in Vancouver. It might have been somewhere else in Canada, I could be wrong. But he was at a peace conference, and he was saying to the women who won the awards that he gave out that the world will be saved by the Western woman. Now, I believe the way it's being quoted is mistaken by a word. I believe, I haven't met the man, I haven't talked to him, but I feel his energy about this. It wasn't about the world will be saved by the Western woman as much as it was about the world will be saved, used to, I haven't played in a long, long time. And I'm glad he said football, not soccer, thank you for that, I'm glad we're on the same page. He said the world will be saved by I believe he should have said, or would have said, the world will be saved by the Western feminine woman. Because most women in the Western world, at least the ones in the business world particularly, have had to encase themselves in the masculine mindset to get things done. To get out in the world and to, especially in the business world, they've had to conform to fit in next to the men in the world. And if you watch the politics, and I should say the political environment in the States right now, it's very evident. In fact, back in England, back when Margaret Thatcher was in charge, she was one of the most masculine women there ever was, because that was what the society required of her. That's the challenge in relationships nowadays, because a woman who goes into a relationship carrying that energy will either settle for a man who's not in his masculine because she's already occupying the space, or she'll find a man who's trying to do that and they'll keep banging heads instead of coming to a healthy relationship. So a lot of what I talk about in the work with men and women is when a woman finds a man who's in his masculine so solidly, and it's not about demonstrating or being macho or pushy, it's residence. When a man is in his presence, of his masculine presence, and she'll feel it, she's really in touch with the feminine, there's a part of her that will just simply say, thank you. And that resonance will allow her to soften and relax and enjoy her feminine magnificence. I mean, I'm owning that as an expression because I love women in their feminine. It's such a glorious and beautiful energy to be around. And I love women like that because that's what I'm also trying to help happen more and more. A large part of my work is helping women own their feminine heart because that's where their true power lies. And when they do that, I can stay in my masculine and more men can step into theirs too. Because we've been taught as men over the last 25, 30 years that we had to soften. The macho man thing got really outmoded back in the 70s or so, and women sort of stepped in and were empowered, and men sort of took second place in some ways. Some of the men did. I did. Okay, I'll own that. Maybe just me. I think other guys did too. And it's the truth that women and men switch roles somewhat. So for women, again, back to women in love, there's a definite evolution happening, a change, a shift happening now, where men and women are coming back into balance necessarily, but also leveling up to another level of expression. There's need now for men to be in their masculine and to be a force for good. And now what I mean, let me qualify this as well, because you may not understand what I mean as I've taught this and learned this from other teachers. The masculine man is not the bad boy or the macho man. The macho man, I don't mean the song. I'm talking about the macho man of the like the leather jacket type thing back in the 60s. It was like my way, the highway. To be nice, I'll say he was driven by his cojones, not by his heart. Then men started discovering their heart and started to become heart-led, but it was still not directional. The masculine man is driven by his spine and his heart. What I mean is, his spine is his direction, his clarity, his mission, his why he's here, his reason for being. And his heart is the way he does it. A man who's really in his masculine is a man who's contributing to the world. He has a legacy that is heart-centered, so he's here to make a difference that uplifts and inspires those around him. That's what I'm up to in my work. And I wish that was what every man would do who's watching this video, or anybody in the world. So for women and love, and I guess, and men and love, we both have our roles to play. There's a lot of just seated here, so I'm going to sit with this for a minute. If you have any questions or anything that you need to qualify, please put your message in, type it in the comment box. If you want to send some hearts, I don't mind those too, because I'm adding collection. Okay, men and women have to conform to a world which will not accept thinking outside the box. Yes, and. We've had that for a while, and we're actually outgrowing it. There's so much I don't want to say crap, but it is that way. There's so much crunchiness happening in society because the model we've been living by is outmoded and it's falling apart. The political system in America is becoming so, it's like you see through the seams now that it's no longer hidden because it's not working. Sorry, planes flying over, so excuse the noise. So to answer your question directly, it's more vital than ever that it's up to us to live our truth, to live outside the norms, because the norm isn't working. It's falling away. It's almost like we're shedding that skin, like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. We're shedding that normal way of being so that we can, hey Crystal, how are you? We're outgrowing that scenario. That societal model that we grew out through, I mean, I've watched it happen a lot. It doesn't work. It's becoming so crystallized and so structured that it doesn't fit anybody. And to fit inside of it is so limiting for us. If you fit inside of it, you're not being yourself anyway. So again, back to being authentic, as I mentioned earlier, if you're willing to, and I can help you with this, is to own your authentic qualities, your authentic needs, your authentic beingness, so you can be out in the world and you can show your fellow friends and partners and peers how to do it. That's what I'm doing, what friends of mine are doing. And our role in this new paradigm that we're stepping into is more needed than ever. Okay, a little self-promo quick before I get back into the topic. For any women watching this who are looking for help, particularly I do work with men as well, I'm going to make it simple. On my website, barryselby.com, there are two places you can go. One is the consult button, which is actually my discovery session. If you want to find out more about what I do, and I can see what you need and see if we can work together. Or if you want to send out a message because you want to jump in one of my programs right now, because they're offline right now, there's a contact button on my site too. And that way you can just send a message to me straight away. I am launching two new programs. I'm launching a program the end of this week, I think is the plan, and another one's going to come in at 2 weeks. The first one is a smaller program. Sorry, I'll get back to this. What is the norm and who is in the box, men or women? Both. The norm that we come out of, men and women are still living in that box, and the good news is that when you step outside, you see it's much bigger outside than it is inside. That limitation is no model. And the thing is, if you are aware and you're watching things around you with some consciousness, yes, thank you, barryselby.com. If you look around and watch the people, if you just step outside for a second and step back and observe and see what's going on, you'll notice a distinct lack of light, I'll put it that way. I see people so shut down in their energy, so contained. It's getting busy this afternoon. Helicopter. I don't know if you hear over the microphone, but I'm definitely getting it here, so wait for a minute. Okay. Thank you. So, I've become somewhat saddened in a way, but also inspired at the same time. Watching people around me who are just living in this drudgery. If you ever saw the Apple commercial for 1984 when the Apple Mac came out, that all those people trudging along, that's the energy I feel around people who are in that box in terms of that question you asked. Men and women both in that box because it's safe to be there, but it's a limiting safety. Freedom is real safety. When you're outside the box living your truth, that's where we need to be. And I may be one of the vanguard. I know I am stepping out beyond most people's comfort zone to say this, but the world needs us to step out of our old framework. This planet, I won't say it's going hell in the handbasket, but it's going downhill because people are holding on to an old belief that it will fix itself because we don't need to do anything. Now there's more to it than that. I'm just showing one idea out there. But what I'm watching is people in society just going along as if nothing's going wrong. And those of us who see differently or wish differently or are willing to take action differently are stepping up. There's been glimpses. The Occupy movement was part of that, where people were, students step out, now they had to wear masks because of persecution, which is one of the challenges of being the vanguards that we are. Yes, let's play outside the box, absolutely. So it's challenging, yes, to be a vanguard. To step outside that framework safely, it's a risk. So one of the things I recommend highly is finding like-minded people you can partner with, connect with, and stay with as you grow together. Because doing it alone, I know, it's hard and it's painful. Because you want to find hearts that we need. Yes, that's why we need each other. It's true. Thank you for that. So we've come a long way. I just started with Women in Love, and now we're talking about world changing. Maybe it's not so different. Being willing to step into your true expression is definitely what I advise, recommend, coach, support and inspire. The more I do it myself, the more I help other people do it, the more I get that mirror back. It's refueling my passion, my desire to keep growing too. And I love supporting other people in doing that too, because the more of us doing it, the better. With 7+ billion people on the planet, it's going to take some time. So the more people doing this, I definitely welcome the help, because I can't do it all on my own. And I know I won't be. I'm not sure I'd join any dots or any things. Thank you. I appreciate that. There's so much about this topic I could talk about, and there's so much more to come out. I actually have a new website domain I haven't touched in 5 years that I'm going to launch sometime soon about being authentic. Oops, sorry, just yanked the cable. But that's another topic, another conversation, and a few more scopes down the road. This one got a bit serious and got some evolutionary things in it, so thank you for inspiring the answers from me and the questions you asked. I'll get back to one point which I said at the beginning, I'll say it again here. For any women watching this now or for later, thank you. If your heart is protected and it's been hardened by too many bad experiences, broken hearts, relationships in the past that didn't work, if you want the real relationship you're looking for, I help you with that. As I mentioned in the beginning of my intro, I am the Heartbreak Repair Specialist is my title. That's what I do. And particularly with women, because that's the audience I work best with. Men generally work better with women coaches. Women generally work better with male coaches in my perspective. Now, I could be wrong with it overall, but the women I work with seem to appreciate that. So if that's something you're looking for help with and you want some support, please reach out to me. You can just go to the contact button on my website, because I'll send you a message straight to me. Or if you want to jump into coaching, there's a program there, but most people won't go, okay, let me go spend the money and jump in the coaching program without meeting me first. So contact is a good way to start, or with a consult button. That will get you a scheduled call with me as well. Okay? Any other questions before I sign off? Thank you, by the way, for participating. I appreciate all the questions and dialogue and the interaction. That's the one I'm looking for. And I guess that's going to be it. Thank you. Appreciate it, and thanks for the questions. You follow me on Twitter, you can find me on Facebook. I've been grateful that pretty much every social media and even my website has my name, Barry Selby, makes it easy to find me. And if you have any questions or you want to follow my lead, I have lots of information I'm putting out, lots of material. My book's on Amazon, as I mentioned, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. And my website, you're very welcome. My website is barryselby.com. I've got a free video series there, by the way. If you want to watch that, just sign in for that. That's a free gift. And there's a lot of good stuff on my site. And I've got more scopes coming. And if you are a scoper and you want to join in on this 30-day challenge, message me about that, or just message me over Twitter, and I'll hook you up with the Facebook group where we're doing the 30-day Periscope challenge. This is day 6 for me, and this is my 6th scope for the drive. This is good, 1 for 1. Thank you again, and I'm signing off. I'm going to go cool down because it's kind of toasty still here. It's 6:30, and time to cool off a bit. Thank you, folks. I will see you tomorrow. I'm probably going to do one again at 6 o'clock. Thank you again. I'll probably do another one around 6. 6 needs to be the time I do these now. And maybe it's for the West Coast people. 9 o'clock for the East Coast. Take care of yourselves. And if you do one thing for yourself tonight and ongoing, is look in the mirror and looking into your own eyes, say out loud, I love you. If that wasn't too hard, do it for 5 minutes. If that wasn't too hard, do it for 15 minutes. You see where I'm going with this. Build that connection with yourself. That's your homework. Thanks for watching again. I will talk to you soon, probably tomorrow. And please spread the word if you want to follow my scopes. Share it with your friends. Again, you're welcome. Take care.